invite you to rethink the word attractive. Most of us have grown up in an era where we've learned that some people are attractive and some are not. And I believe this is a very unfortunate way of making sense of the concept of attractiveness that doesn't serve any of us. It's a concept that believes that what makes you attractive is how you look, and I don't think that's true. So you might have that kind of wonderful long hair with the body and sheen like they have in the shampoo commercials, which my hair really never does that. And that might look pretty, but it's not what makes you attractive. It's not about your age or your body size or your skin color or the shape of your cheekbones. What makes you attractive has something to do with you, not your outward form, but the substance of you and how that is visible to other people. It's more like about how you appear or how you seem or how you show up than just being about how you look. So there are ways that you can cultivate yourself to become more and more attractive as your life goes on. There are 3 practices in particular that I'd like to talk about that make that possible. In brief, they are liking yourself, showing yourself, and liking other people. So the first of these, liking yourself, it's not as easy for many of us to like ourselves as it should be. And that's unfortunate because you are awesome. You are a truly awesome human being. You are wonderful and lovable, and you may or may not know that about yourself because we've all grown up in a society where we've been told a lot of lies and half-truths to make us feel bad about ourselves in order to make us more easy to control. And in the case of looks, in order to make it so that we want to buy things because we think those things will make us more appealing to others. But if you can do the work on yourself to examine those lies and find out what's true, you get to the point where you can like yourself more and more and more. I don't even mean just love yourself, I mean like really like yourself. Like your unique idiosyncratic qualities that make you the person that you are. If you've ever met someone who has that mysterious quality that we call charisma, charisma is like a kind of being internally undivided. It happens when instead of people being at war with themselves, they're internally unified so that when they show themselves, there's not also a part of themselves that's trying to keep themselves down or held back because they think they're unacceptable or inadequate. Instead, they are their whole selves, and that shows up in the way that they appear. 2 people can look very similar and fit an external standard of beauty and be considered attractive, but no 2 people can be charismatic in the same way. It's too much about who you are as an individual. If you get to the point where you've done that work and you can really like yourself, that means that the second practice becomes available to you, which is showing yourself. Showing yourself means you don't hide your light. If you think about the difference between somebody who dims their light deliberately, hides out, is shy, doesn't really show up or use their voice or bring their whole self, that person is not as attractive because they're just not as present. There's not as much of them there. Someone who really allows their light to shine through is shinier. They're just more visible. We get more of them. And it's the you-ness of you that makes you attractive. So when you don't hide, when you really show who you are, that becomes more available. Now, another way that people hide is not by being shy, but by putting on a false front. I know plenty of people who seem like they have big, brash personalities. They really show their personalities, but those personalities are an act. They're a front that's been designed to protect themselves. And when you're really being you and showing yourself, it has a quality of realness, of vulnerability, even of softness often. That's what happens when you're not putting on a false front. And it means that you don't conform. We've all been taught that we're supposed to just be like everybody else, that what makes us desirable in our culture is to have the qualities that people are all supposed to have. And that's really unfortunate that we've learned that because it's the unique quality of your true individuality, the substance of you, that makes you so appealing. Think about how people write their online dating profiles. Most online dating profiles are lame. They are just the same thing that everybody else writes. It's a list of characteristics that are supposed to make you interesting or attractive, but that's not what makes you interesting or attractive. Do this instead. Think about 3 or 4 or 5 moments in your life when you felt most like yourself. Moments when you acted in a way that was fully in line with your ideals and your values and your aesthetics, and where you had experiences that reflected those. And write 2-sentence descriptions of those moments and put that on your dating profile and make it your dating profile. It'll be much more interesting than anything else that's out there, and it'll be more about the real substance of you, not merely the outward form that you think you're supposed to project. I'll say more in a future video blog about how to write an irresistible online dating profile. But for now, find a way to really show yourself in a way that it's about you and not just how you think you're supposed to be. The third important point here is that you need to like other people. Everyone's like you. Everyone just wants to be liked and seen and appreciated. We're often desperate for it. If you can genuinely like people like you can like yourself, not just love them, but actually find out what it is about the unique qualities that they have that make them delightful. Even when they're being funny and doing the things that they do when they get cornered and defensive, all of those things you can learn to like if you really get to know and understand somebody. And if you really like people, they can tell, and they see you differently. This is part of what I mean when I say it's not about how you look, but more about how you show up or appear. That's a dynamic process that involves an interaction between people. If you treat people in a way that they feel liked by you, they see you differently, you show up in a different way. The real advantage, however, here is that whether or not someone who you like is able to show you that they like you back or return your attraction for them, it doesn't matter, because you've had a satisfying experience liking people, because that's enjoyable in and of itself. These three practices, liking yourself and showing yourself and liking other people, are really about being a whole individual. It's really about being your whole true self. And that's a really worthwhile project regardless of the outcome. If what you're doing is trying to find a mate or get a date, it's worth saying, this is obvious but worth restating anyway, that attraction is idiosyncratic. Not everyone is going to be into you. Just like you're not into everybody. You're into some people, not into other people. Well, that's how people are going to be about you too. There will be some people who are attracted to you, though. If they're not, it's not personal. It's about people's individual preferences and chemistries, and that's just part of nature. That's part of how we work. But the more you can show yourself, the more you allow the substance of you to shine through your outward form, the more the people who are attracted to you will have a chance to be. You might be sitting there wishing you just looked like those fashion models in the magazines that we think we're supposed to look like. But you should know that those people are just as insecure as the rest of us about whether they're attractive enough. And they have the added complication that when someone likes them, they don't know whether the person likes them just because of how they look or whether it's really about who they are. You will not have that problem if you allow your attractiveness to be a product of you being your true self. Be a true individual, and then who you are and how you appear will be all one thing, and you'll know that people like you because you're you.